Alrighty guys and gals, Houston Kilby here, back in the shop again, and do we have a blast from the past sitting behind me right here. This is the old S-Kicker chassis. This is a chassis my Uncle Blaine built back in the day, and this has been one heck of a winning machine over the years. And this thing is in the shop. The current owners had just got into a wreck with it, and we're going to do some fixes on it. But I thought I'd give a little bit of a blast from the past, old school footage of what this thing used to look like, and when I remember it running and stuff back in the 90s. And so you guys sit back, enjoy some of the blast from the past footage, and then after that I'll show you guys the current crash that this thing was in, and then after that I'll show you guys some of the fixes and the updates that we're going to do to it. So you guys sit back and enjoy.
Jeremy Finley out of Boone's Mill, Virginia had to clean up the name of his ride for television. So he took away a little fiberglass and his vehicle became the S-Kicker. Since then, a couple of letters is about the only thing this red Ford coupe has lost.
Good lane. First shot out of both lanes. Let's see what kind of numbers we're going to be looking at, Gary.
Look at Finley walk the dog through the mud. It looked like a good run in both lanes. Finley at 252.
Jeremy Finley cut a 252 on a real good run. The big scoopers grabbed, pulled the car up in the air, and he was making all kind of horsepower. Then something happened. The blower belt broke, and it took all the horsepower away. Normally, the blower belt goes right around here. There's an idler pulley here. The belt is completely gone. As soon as that blower belt went away, took all the horsepower away from him, and that's when he landed his puppy. What they're doing, watch Finley, man, he just grabs a hold of water and slings it on the other end. That's nothing but raw horsepower there, friend. That's a ride.
Tell you what, weather's not hurting. It's helping.
Sport.
Oh, a good run by both. Let's check the times.
261's what they had to beat.
260 for Joey Quick, a 260.
That makes him quick of the day. Oh,
Look
no!
at this.
Yeah.
A 253 for Jeremy Finley, and that takes him to the top of the leaderboard.
What a run by Finley. Like I say, you're racing the clock here. So Finley waits to get the light he wants and just muscles it on the other end.
What a great ride for Jeremy Finley. He is leading at 253.
Jeremy, a 253. That's an awfully fast run.
Yeah, we've got it dialed in right now. I couldn't have did it without the help of my brother and my family, that's for sure.
Reactors, what everybody's going to be keeping an eye on. Rear motor, solid axle, more rigid. S-Kicker, far side, a real top-end charge.
Jeremy Finley in the S-Kicker. Hold on, look out, he's heading for the water barrier.
Had the back pedal on the throttle. Look at that, a 2.7 with a 4. Finley's looking good. Meanwhile, in the other lane, a 3.19. Not going to be the number that driver was looking for.
Well, on the replay, you can see the S-Kicker kicking some horsepower right off the starting line, Army.
Yeah, he picks it up and literally skips across the track. But watch him in the shutdown area. Now, look at his hands. See, he's really starting to work that vehicle. He's trying to hit the throttle to pull it out. He is manhandling this thing like a school bus driver, if you will. But he got it.
Tom Means in the Mud Patrol. Both have won here at Indy.
That was a good mud race there.
Look at that for Tom Means at 2.936. However, Finley was quicker. Finley's time was a 2.930 in the S-Kicker. He was the Class 6 event winner here back in 1991. Let's take a look again. And once again, Means gets out first, but the competition is against the clock, not against each other. Here is Jeremy Finley.
Hey, Gary, this guy's got to have more guts than Dick Tracy. He's the first one to make a run through here today without a top on the vehicle. Does that affect you anymore being out in the open? Because you know you're going to get muddy.
The way the water's spraying, even if you're in an enclosed car, you can't hardly see going through there, because the first thing it does is cover you up.
So you made the run basically not being able to see where you're going?
Yeah, pretty much. You can sort of see, but it's fuzzy.
I guess in motorsports they call that blind luck.
Alrighty guys and gals, so there you all have it, a little bit of history, and also you guys got to see the current crash this thing just went through. As y'all can tell, this thing's got some serious damage to it. It's broke the steering shaft out of it. It's ripped the whole front of it apart. You guys can see it all bent up there. And so first thing we got to do is get this thing on a jig and actually see how far out this deal is, so we can kind of see where we need to go, what we need to cut off, and that sort of thing. And the whole entire front half of this car is going to have to be redone. I mean, it's broke a shock mounts off of it. It's broke and bent just about everything that you can imagine. So we got to get the jig set up, get it leveled out, and get the car on top of the jig. And here you guys can see we're starting to get this thing leveled out and seeing what all we're working with here. And then there you go. You get the levels out and start at one end, start going to the other, and kind of seeing what's broke, what is bent up. And we figured out the whole entire front half, literally from the mid plate forward, had to be cut completely off. And you guys can see there. And it actually ripped the mid-plate brackets out of it too. It's kind of hard to see it in this video here, but I tell you guys, we've got a lot of work ahead of us. We're going to completely redo the whole front half. And yeah, guys, we'll rock and roll here. Alright guys, supposed to be a good time to kind of talk about some stuff where we're at in the chassis and stuff here. As you guys can see, we're laying out the front motor plate. This was the existing one, the old one that was on it, and it was a little bit wore out. So it's time to make a new one. Right now we're going to get the tabs and stuff put on there, all that good stuff. Right now we're kind of tying up everything up here at the front. I've got to fix this mount right here, get a little bit angled. That's for the nitrous bottle. And then we got to make the fuel cell mounts and stuff up here as well. And that's going to pretty much wrap up the whole front end. So let's talk about some stuff here that we had found that we had to beef up and change. One was the mid plate. We put a 1/4 inch aluminum mid plate in it. It did have this right here in there. And that's not going to work for the amount of power that this thing makes, because it was actually ripping the tabs out of it, what it had there. So we updated that stuff, made it better. Another thing we came across was the mounts for the transfer case. So we had to beef these up, and you can also see here we had to angle these out right in here. This transfer case, the mounts that was existing, it was already there. We were trying to at least use some of that stuff, both on this side and on the other side, but the crash or something had tweaked everything. So we ended up having to start from square one, really change the mounts and stuff a little bit, try to make all that better there. So a lot of work goes in this stuff sometimes when you deal with a crashed vehicle to get things straight again. And boy, did this one, it tore up a lot of stuff. We went through and worked on all of the universals, redone all them, cut all them apart. They were welded on and stuff. I don't like to do that. Some people weld them on like here and here to get the slack out of them. And all you need to do is just go 90 degrees over, or an opposite bolt pattern. Means like if this was the old one was right there, just drill you a new one and put you a new bolt down through to solve that slack problem there. That way you can actually take things apart and stuff. So that's what we done on this one. Was able to reuse those older universals, but we just had to face them off and drill new holes. And so there we are. So that's getting wrapped up there. So next video here at the end of it, I'll show you guys the motor plate going in it, and then we'll pull everything apart and the customer can come and get it here. We also put a new anti-roll brackets on stuff. It actually broke the old ones off, and we beefed it up and put some stronger ones on there. And I like turning the cars on the side so I can really make this weld here nice. That's why I've got a mark on this. I need to make a second pass on it. But you got to be careful in areas like this on this type of anti-roll bar, because of you'll melt the bushings out. So you got to be careful on this, because once they go on, they're on. So let's see here. Talk about some more stuff here. All right, so I thought I'd show some things. This is the old front half that was on this car, okay? And because I thought this would be some interesting information for you guys, and so that I could show some very valuable points here. So if you notice, we beefed up and put a bigger X brace in up here, and also all the diagonal tubes right here are a bigger diameter as well. So if you look over here, this one is really small. Now that one's the right size there. And we also changed the upright. Okay, so we've learned over the years, if you go with too small of tubing, okay, and this chassis is a perfect example of it, because I can see where it's happened. If you go with too small of tubing into too large of tubing, what ends up happening is it breaks the welds out, or it'll push this tube inside of that bigger one. It's a problem that chromoly has, especially if it's thin wall tubing. And you know, you want to build lightweight cars, and it's the correct wall thickness that we've used on this here. But this is an example of, over the years, you all got to understand, this thing was originally built early 90s, like 1990 or maybe even 89, when this chassis here was originally built. And you know, you learn a lot of things since then. And one of the things that we've learned is, if you put too small tubing in here, you can see here of examples of the weld has broke over the years. This one here, you can see it too, because this chassis was originally, I believe, TIG welded up. So we know that this isn't a TIG weld here. This is something that has been done afterwards. And we can also see this X, I don't know if you guys can see it on camera or not, but there's actually a hump right here, and there's actually some bends in this. And you can see one kind of right there too. And you can also see where this one has broke out. So these are just things that we've learned over the years on chassis that we got to fix to do better. And we incorporated that on this front half here. Well guys, you just pulled the block out, and at this step, this is where you have to be careful at, because you got to get welds on these brackets here the best that you can, and on these brackets here the best that you can while the motor's in it, and then pull the motor out so you can weld the rest of it up. But you want to make sure you put the mid plate and the front plate back in it, so the chassis doesn't try to do this or get the holes misaligned and stuff, because it's still going to move a little bit, but at least if you put the motor plates back in, it'll hold it pretty good. So now it's time to finish welding everything. We've got the front fuel cell in, it's all tacked up pretty good, got the bands made all that stuff. Definitely a big shout out to Jesse there, been helping me out today.
Yeah, man, what's going on, guys?
But he's over there wrestling the big block in the floor.
Pretty much. Why couldn't we stop with 4 cylinders or something?
I know, lightweight stuff, or rotary motors or something. But anyways, so Blaine is sick and been in rough shape, and it's one of those deals where Jesse's been helping me out, try to get some things wrapped up here. So there we are. I went ahead and beefed up this rear area back here with these gussets. I think I cleaned up real nice there, and done the same thing on the other side. Probably don't know if you guys can see it or not. Yeah, right there. Beefed all that up. So that's where we are. We'll keep on welding here and get some stuff done. All right, so I've got this kind of mapped out here where this thing used to be welded on at, and kind of the distances here. Everything, trying to line it off with these bolt holes. So I've done the same thing over here on the new one. I've lined everything up, and that's kind of what I'm coming up with right there. I think that bolt's going to be all right where it's at in that location right there. Just I have to be careful when I weld right in here to kind of not let it build up too much. But that's kind of where I'm seeing that plate play at. I'm going to clean that thing up really nice to make it look good and get everything ground down and cleaned up and stuff, but that's where we are on that. Heck yeah, guys. It's time for this old hot rod to get back into hot rodding again. We got this thing all fixed up. I think it's ready for a customer to come and get it. I just thought I'd kind of go over some stuff here, and I thought this thing right here would be really cool. Shout out to what the old car used to look like. And I don't know if you guys can see all of the big events that this thing won right here. I mean, it's crazy. This thing kicks some butt, and definitely glad to have this poster here in the shop. I think that'd be really cool add-on piece right there. Blaine had this at his house, and I think we're gonna put it up in the shop here. So that's a really cool situation. But there it is, guys. The S-Kicker car is done, and it's ready for the bullet to get put back in it and rock and roll here. Right now I've got the transmission out of it. I think I'll leave that out of it so the customer can come and get it, and they can go have a new day here. So let's go over some stuff here. So redid all of the steering shaft, everything, got new hardware in it, new drill holes and stuff. This is where the old bolt hole location was. You guys can see it got a lot of slack in it. All that's been done. On the motor plate up here at the front, I had to weld on this bracket here. This is for the belt guard, and aluminum welds turned out decent. I don't know what actual grade of aluminum this is, but it acted a little bit funky when I first started welding, but I think the welds turned out decent on that, so that's done. This was the old motor plate that was on it. As you guys can tell, the holes was wore out. This stuff it was beat to death. But I think we're gonna be in good shape now. So we've got that updated. Literally from here forward, everything's all brand new. New hold downs and new fuel cell mounts. This fuel cell was mangled up pretty bad, and I took a heat gun to it and got everything pulled back out. They will be buying a new fuel cell, but I just needed to get new mounts for it and try to make everything work the best it could. So that's fixed. That's ready. That's done. When it comes down here to the transfer case, got everything beefed up down there. I'm happy with that. Also, it's got a brand new anti-roll bar on it now, and all that is in good shape and ready to go for them. So all this is ready. Then come get this thing, and I get this thing put back together, and then go from there. So there you guys go, and they're ready for this deal. Alright guys, I had a little bit of time, so I fixed it. I don't know if you guys saw it in the videos or not, but these were some pieces that we weren't asked to fix these, but I couldn't. I was kind of scared when I saw it. This is galvanized pipe. This is what this is right here, and I don't like putting that in chassis or in roll cages, or anything in a car. So what I done was I just dimensioned this out the best I could on everything, and now they got all chrome moly mounts and everything, brand new tabs on everything. This is all brand new, new mounts for MSD coil and new mounts down here. And I just dimensioned everything out the best I could with the existing mounts that they had and redone it and stuff, and now this stuff is really in there and it's all TIG welded up. But it was one of those deals. We wasn't asked to do it, but I saw it and it wasn't safe. I didn't like it, so I went ahead and fixed it. And there's that stuff there. So guys, try not to use the galvanized stuff. That's like conduit for electrical wires. But I get it. We gotta get these cars going. We gotta get to the races. But I wasn't gonna let it leave here. I know you guys on YouTube gave me a hard time about it, so it's fixed now. And there's the shop dog. Hannah and Scarlett's been helping. Scarlett's already got, what do you got? You got metal or what is that?
Paper, I think.
Paper. You little turd.
I help clean.
That's right. Alrighty guys, so one last thing I wanted to talk about here. This is something that we're doing now when things go out of the shop. We try to make sure that there's grade 8 hardware on everything. This is minimum grade 8. So now when the customer comes and get it, he's got the hardware that's going to take to have good hardware on the vehicle. Grade 5 stuff, that's what these bolts are right here. I'm not a fan of these, but I went ahead and got these because I couldn't get grade 8 this size. All that stuff's on back order. It's hard to get hardware right now, but at least they know what size it is they need to get. And went ahead and put grade 8 hardware in the anti-roll and in the shock mounts back here for them. All that good stuff. But anyways guys, there y'all go. Alright guys, thank y'all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Man, I really wanted to put a lot of good footage in there for y'all on this one, and I think we knocked it out. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Had a lot of history in this episode and some old school footage, and also getting this thing fixed and back up and going again. Hopefully here very soon, the new owners of this car, they will get this thing back up together, get the motor back in it, and bring it down so we can get this thing weighed out and get it on scales and make sure everything's really set up right on suspension. And hopefully all that works out and we can get all that done for them. Guys, I'm wore out. It's been a lot of late nights and a lot of hard work on this one here. But anyways, we'll see you guys in the next one.
And here's a look again at what happens when you simply have too much horsepower, period.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Don't forget to go over to KilbyMotorsports.com where we've got all kinds of merch over there and all kinds of high performance products as well. And definitely a big shout out to our sponsors and partners. Till next time, you guys have a good one.